La sexta reunión de la 50ª sesión del Consejo de Derechos Humanos. Comenzamos ahora el evento conmemorativo de alto nivel con motivo de la 50ª sesión del Consejo de Derechos Humanos. Tengo el honor de dar la bienvenida al presidente del 76º periodo de sesiones de la Asamblea General de las Naciones Unidas, quien ofrecerá un discurso principal, Su Excelencia el señor Abdulla Shahid. Bienvenido. También me complace dar la bienvenida al señor Antonio Guterres, secretario general de las Naciones Unidas, a la señora Bachelet, alta comisionada de las Naciones Unidas para los Derechos Humanos, y a la señora Estela Carlotto, presidenta de la Asociación de Abuelas de Plaza de Mayo, que pronunciarán discursos de apertura. Permítame asimismo dar la bienvenida al señor Tistounet, jefe de la subdivisión del Consejo de Derechos Humanos de la Oficina de la Alta Comisionada de las Naciones Unidas para los Derechos Humanos, que moderará la mesa redonda integrada por eminentes personalidades, a quien también saludo. El señor Eliasson, presidente de la 60ª sesión de la Asamblea General, durante la cual fue creado el Consejo de Derechos Humanos y ex vicesecretario general de las Naciones Unidas. Su Excelencia el señor Ivan Simonovic, representante permanente de Croacia ante las Naciones Unidas en Nueva York y ex subsecretario general de Derechos Humanos. Su Excelencia señora Supatra Srimaitrepitak, representante permanente de Tailandia ante las Naciones Unidas en Ginebra. Excelentísima señora Yvette Stevens, presidenta de los seminarios interseccionales en 2019 sobre la contribución del Consejo de Derechos Humanos a la prevención de las violaciones de derechos humanos, con el mandato en virtud de la resolución 38/18 del Consejo de Derechos Humanos. Señor Víctor Madrigal Borboz, experto independiente sobre la protexón contra la violencia y la discriminación basada en la orientación sexual y la identidad de género, y expresidente del Comité de Coordinación de los Procedimientos Especiales. Y la señora Mona Mbikai, directora ejecutiva de la organización UPR Info. Antes de continuar, permítame recordarles que los estados que deseen participar en el debate serán invitados a inscribirse más adelante levantando sus placas. Las instituciones nacionales de derechos humanos y las organizaciones no gubernamentales están invitadas a inscribirse en la mesa de la lista de oradores de las ONG en la sala. Excelencias, señoras y señores, no hay un evento conmemorativo sin un video conmemorativo. Así que deseo agradecer a todos nuestros colegas del equipo de prensa del Consejo la preparación del video conmemorativo de la 50ª sesión que veremos a continuación.
You will agree to double the budget of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and strengthen her office. You will also agree that the failures of the Human Rights Commission must be remedied by establishing a new Human Rights Council, the details of which must now be worked out during the 60th General Assembly.
The result of the vote is as follows: in favor 170, opposed 4, abstention 3.
Señoras y señores, tengo ahora el honor de dar la palabra a nuestro orador principal, el excelentísimo señor Abdulla Shahid, presidente del 76º periodo de sesiones de la Asamblea General de las Naciones Unidas, y le agradecemos mucho su presencia en persona en esta histórica sesión. Excelencia, tiene la palabra.
Bachelet, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I thank the President of the Human Rights Council for inviting me to address this important commemorative event on the occasion of the Council's 50th session. Let me also commend the tireless efforts of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and her office in providing support to the work of the Human Rights Council and its mechanisms. Both President Villegas and Madam Michelle Bachelet are our staunch champions for human rights diplomacy, which is at the core of the United Nations. Without full respect for human rights, we cannot maintain the international peace and security and achieve sustainable development. All three pillars are inextricably linked. In the context of the unprecedented challenges that the world faces, from climate change and COVID-19 to the conflict in Ukraine, focusing today's event on the achievements made and the lessons learned after 50 sessions of the Council proves to be timely and meaningful. The role of the Council and its mechanisms in promoting and protecting human rights have been crucial to combating and preventing human rights violations all around the world. In particular, the Universal Periodic Review has proven essential to advancing human rights across the globe. It has allowed for continuous review of human rights records of all UN member states on an equal basis. Besides promoting dialogue and cooperation between states on human rights issues, the UPR has led to critical legal reforms at national level, increased ratification of core international human rights instruments, and strengthened the implementation of action plans and strategies. The UPR has also opened spaces at the national level for collaboration between governments and CSOs. The special procedures, yet another contribution of the Council, play a vital role in advancing international human rights standards, raising awareness about human rights violations, and providing advice for technical cooperation. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since its inception, the Human Rights Council has proven to be efficient in responding to human rights crises, including by holding special sessions and urgent debates to respond to human rights emergencies. It has also shown its value to support the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and to combat climate change. In fact, when it comes to the SDGs, on average, 45% of all resolutions adopted since 2015 specifically refer to them. And I'm encouraged by the adoption of 2 resolutions on human rights and climate change last year. These resolutions identify and reaffirm the threat posed by climate change to the enjoyment of human rights. For some countries, such as my own, small island states, this corresponds to the right to life. Ladies and gentlemen, I commend the work of the Trust Fund on achievements in enhancing participation of SIDS, LDCs, and LLDCs, not only in the work of the Council, but also in broadening its membership. Throughout my presidency, one of my priorities has been to support countries in special situations. Indeed, in January, I launched the Fellowship of Hope with this priority in my mind. The fellowship provides 8 representatives from underrepresented countries the opportunity to work and learn at the UN General Assembly. It is my hope that these fellows leave my office as champions and ambassadors for multilateralism, including as it pertains to human rights. Excellencies, dear friends, the United Nations is and should be ever-changing and evolving. I commend efforts by the Human Rights Council to grow and adapt. I've been pleased that during my presidency, I've been able to support initiatives on UN revitalization. On our common agenda, the Secretary General's vision on the future of the United Nations, which has a strong human rights component, member states, the United Nations system, and all relevant partners are on the path to advance its implementation after long discussions and 5 thematic consultations. Excellencies, there is no doubt that the Council is the main platform that promotes universal respect for the protection of human rights. Building on the innovations and progress of the Human Rights Council, let me provide 3 key takeaways today. First, we must recognize, respect, and implement the recommendations of the human rights mechanisms, as we have set them up to help us to advance our efforts to achieve a better world. Second, we must scale up efforts to address